Lama nismecha parsha zu lezu? It's the question that Rashi and many Mefarshim ask time after time. What is the connection between one section of the Torah to the next section of the Torah? And in our parasha, that is exactly the question that is asked. What is the connection between the unfortunate death of Nadav and Avihu, Aaron HaKohen Gadol's two sons who were killed and died in the Kodesh HaKodashim on probably the most joyous day of their life? What is that connection to the next portion of the Torah of Kashrut? There's a story in the Midrash of Yeshua ben Levi who saw Eliyahu HaNavi. And he said, Eliyahu HaNavi, can I join you in your travels? Now Eliyahu HaNavi said, sure, you could join me, but on one condition. You don't question what I do or what I say. And Yeshua ben Levi said, of course, an opportunity like this, I'm ready. I will not ask any questions. And off they go onto their travels. And they get to a town, and they knock on the door, and there's an old couple, a man and a woman, who take them in. They give them a place to sleep, some food and drink. Ah, what beautiful and unbelievable achnasat orchim. The next morning, as they're about to leave, Eliyahu HaNavi in the room before he leaves says to himself, God, Yehi Ratzon, it shall be that the cow of this family die. Yeshua ben Levi sees this and is perplexed. The cow is the source of their parnasah. It's the source of their livelihood. It gives them milk. It gives them food. Okay, I can't ask any questions. And off they go to their next place. And they get to a town where they also knock on the door, and there's a miser, this cheap man who opens the door, and he says, what do you want? And they say, can we please stay by you? And again, he doesn't know who these two people are. And he says, fine, but don't ask for any food. Don't ask for any drink. You sleep on the floor and you leave the next morning. So they wake up the next morning, and Eliyahu HaNavi looks up to Shemayim and he prays to God and he says, Yehi Ratzon, may it be that the walls of this house stay strong, that the walls never break. Yeshua ben Levi is again perplexed. What a bracha. Hopefully we wish our walls would never break. We wish there shall never be a leak on our roof. It's unbelievable and a beautiful bracha, but such a person deserves a bracha. But again, promise not to ask any question. They continue along their path. They get to a town that nobody invites them. It is like Sodom and Amorah. And Eliyahu HaNavi gives them a bracha. May every single one of you be a leader. Perplexed again, but Yeshua ben Levi can't ask any questions. And they get to their last town. And as they walk into that town, everyone comes over and says, can we help you? What can we get for you? Do you need a place to sleep? Do you need a place to eat? What can we offer you? Where are you coming from? Wow, what unbelievable achnasat orchim, like the home of Avraham Avinu. And Eliyahu HaNavi gave them a bracha, may only one of you be a leader amongst this town. And Yeshua ben Levi said, I had enough. This does not make sense. Eliyahu HaNavi, you must explain to me. Why is it that the people who deserve a klala and deserve to be cursed, you give them a bracha? Yet the people who deserve to be blessed, you curse them. And Eliyahu HaNavi says, it may seem on the outside that I'm blessing those who need to be cursed and cursing those who need to be blessed. But you know that couple you thought cursed them means that their animals shall die. I knew that this old woman was supposed to be sick and then die, and instead I said maybe a kapara. It should be that their animals should die, and not that, God forbid, this woman should die. We went to this man's house, this miser who barely took us in, and I gave them a blessing that the walls of this house should never break. That's because I know there's a treasure underneath the wall, and the last thing I need is for him to do construction and demolition and find what's beneath the walls of his home. He doesn't deserve that. And when we went to the town that nobody invited us to their home, I gave them a bracha that they should all be leaders. You know what happens when you have a lot of leaders in one town? They butt heads. And it never works out that way. When I went to the town with you, where everybody wanted us to come to their home, which is unbelievable, and I gave them a blessing that only one of you should be a leader. That's because sometimes you only need one head, one leader, who could properly lead everyone, that everyone will follow in his ways. Lama nismecha parsha zu lezu? What is the connection between the death of Aaron's two sons and kashrut? You know what the answer is? We don't have an answer. We don't know what the connection is. And sometimes that is the answer. It's that we don't know why things happen and why we're put in a certain situation, or why things seems to be horrible and terrible to the naked eye is really a blessing in disguise. But our question can't be lama, why, but it has to be lema, for what? Why is this happening? What does God want from me to do? How do I pick myself up and move ahead and continue along the path of life and continue to forge our relationship with God? Why is God doing this to me that I then need to get closer to Him? Not why is this happening, but for what purpose could I learn this lesson and then forge a relationship with Hashem? You know what Aaron's reaction was when he heard his two sons were dead, died in the Kodesh HaKodashim? Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was silent. Sometimes we cannot explain why things happen, and sometimes we're just not ready for a reaction. But the Vayidom Aaron at the time was Aaron was kept quiet. Introspection. It's to think and to connect. God, what is it that you want from me? What can I do to continue along in my path of my life in connecting to you? There are many people who might give reasons for why the coronavirus is happening, for why this is happening to all of us. And I'm not a Navi, and I'm not a great Tzaddik, and I don't know why things happen. But what I could say is, for what purpose is this happening? What could we do to then enrich our lives? Perhaps it's that when we come to the Bet Knesset, God willing soon, it should be a place that we make it our home of worship, of tefillah, of limud Torah. Perhaps now that we have a little bit more times in our hand, we could listen to more shiurim and to forge a relationship with our family and friends, call family who we haven't called in a very long time, spend time with our spouse and with our children at home with us. There's so much that we could do to continue along in our path of life. Why is this happening? We might not know. But for what purpose is this happening? Perhaps that we can enrich our lives and we could find something positive in the situation that we find ourselves in. Shabbat Shalom.